Good morning. I want to thank you for allowing me to come and talk about my part two of my near-death experience. The first one was the journey that God took me on. This one is my spiritual healing and my spiritual growth through my near-death experience. I'm going to share 5 important things that I usually share with people that when I go and do my talks, I share with them. I share with the families of the people who's getting ready to die, that transparent over, and people who's going through grief and bereavement. God, when I went to go visit God, I had first, I want to say, you're looking at a miracle. You're looking at a miracle right here. I'm a miracle. And I usually do this and show people this because I was subconscious. It's like, okay, God, why do I have this long scar on the back of my neck? Okay, 9 spinal cord surgeries later, 2 rods, 50 screws, 5 plates, 10 discs. The longest surgery I had was a 12-hour surgery, okay? Died on the table. Went in for a simple surgery, and I knew I was gonna die, and I died. I've been to a lot of places on this earth, beautiful places, but it's nothing compared to where I went to, okay? Heaven is real, God is real. That's all I can say. I talked to God. Me and God had a conversation, face to face, okay? We held each other. No, I didn't see his face, but I felt his presence. And it was 5 things he told me to come back and share with my family, when I do my talks. And I couldn't, when I woke up, came back, I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't do nothing. Couldn't even hold my grandbaby. So me and God have a conversation. It was like, okay, God, I went to the most beautiful place on earth. No, most beautiful place, better than earth. And you want me to come back, paralyzed, can't talk. It's like, come on. All right. I'm like, really? You know? And I remember when we was talking, he said, I want you to share something with your family. That's with everybody. And he said, what you're going to do, you're going to save the dying and the dead. And I'm like, okay, I ain't no preacher, I ain't no minister, I'm not none of that. He said, but watch what I'm going to do. And I said, okay. Came back, couldn't walk, couldn't do nothing, it was like, okay, why I'm here? What is my purpose here on this earth to, live? And I remember, going through physical therapy, occupational therapy. They had me on so much drugs. It was unreal. They prescribed me morphine. I was taking morphine 8 hours a day, 8 hours. Toradol. It was like, okay, come on now, come on. And I remember one particular doctor, he said, Chris, I want to prescribe you this medication. He said, but you got to go home and look at it on YouTube. And I'm looking, it's like, really? He said, yeah. He said, it's the medication going to work, but your mental status going to decline. I said, this man must have lost his mind. I said, you gonna have me take some medication that would mess me up, but it's going, I said, no, keep it, that's okay. And I remember going home and sitting on my bed, had a conversation with God. He said, okay, God, I died. And I remember you telling me that you was going to do something that science would never, ever figure out. And I said, okay, I'm waiting. I said, I'm waiting. I said, okay, prove it to me, prove it to me, prove it to me. And I remember he said, there's 5 steps I want you to share with the people. 5 steps that you did, that I had you to do. Now, remind you, I was getting into meditation. I am a very, very spiritual person. My family, we were spiritual when we came out the womb. We was taught spiritual. It was like, okay, everything meditation, you know, think about what's going to happen. And I was like, okay. So the first one, I was in Tai Chi. I was doing Tai Chi. I was doing meditation. I was eating right. And I kept, you know, it was like, okay, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. The doctors, you know, is that morphine working? And I'm looking at him. And I said, if you only knew. I said, that morphine is sitting on my medicine cabinet, never been touched. Vicodins, I never took a Vicodin. Even when I had my surgeries, the doctors and the nurses was coming in, and they was like, is the machine broke? I was like, what you mean the machine broke? He said, you had a 12-hour surgery, and that pump had never went off. I said, no. I said, I'm not gonna take it. He said, come on, you had surgery, we put rods in you, you did this, and no, I'm not gonna do it. But what I want to share with my family, you are my family, is 5 steps that God told me to say or to express or to let you all know how your spiritual healing and your spiritual growth would come about. The first one is like a cake. You know how you bake a cake and how you build a building, the foundation. The first one is forgiveness. Forgiveness. You know, a lot of people's like, what? Forgiveness. Going back to my near-death experience, when I knew I was dead, the first thing came out of my mouth, God, forgive me. Forgive me for whatever I done, said, thought, acting stupid, going places I had no business going. And I remember God said, he said, you forgiven. I forgive you. It's all good. And when he said that, it was like a peace came down. And I said, okay, if God can forgive me, I can forgive people who supposed to have wronged me. And when I share this with families and with grief groups and with retreats I do and with talks all over, you know, the United States, the first thing I say, forgive. And a lot of people say, well, Chris, you don't know what they done to me. No, I don't know what they was done to you. But if you want God to forgive you or your higher being to forgive you, you have to start forgiving you with yourself. I remember 50% of my clients that's at near-death experience, at near-death getting ready to die, first thing they ask me when they can talk, they say, well, Chris, have God forgiven me? You think God, have you forgave yourself? And they look and they say, you know what? I never thought about that. I said, forgive yourself. God gonna forgive you. The second one is caring. You know, when I was in heaven or my near-death experience, God is a caring person. Everybody said, well, how you know he's the person or this and that? In my experience, he was caring. And when I came back, you know, the first thing, it was like, are you angry? No, I'm not angry for what? You can't walk. You can't hold your grandbaby. You can't do nothing. It's like, no, I can't. When I've been interviewed by magazines and news articles and news people, and they say, well, are you bitter? No, I was not bitter. You know, and we have to show each other that we care. You know, I'm one of the most caring person that's on this earth. I mean, it's like care. And a lot of people, you know, my family, like, you care too much. You just too much. It don't make no sense what happened to you. You just, it's like, okay, that's me. The next one, number 3, is love. He is loving. Show love. You know, a lot of people say, well, if I care, you know, that means love. No. You know, you can care about something, but you don't love them. You know, mine is love and care. You know, I love. And I tell people I don't know, people I talk to, the last thing I tell them, I love you. And they look at me like I'm crazy, like, what, man? I love you. There's no shaky business about it. There's no funny business about it. I love you. That's me. I love you. I love everybody in here. Everyone in here I love. I know I might have not met you. I don't know you, but I do love you. And I care about you. I care about everyone. And my family, like Chris, you know, that's your downfall. You love, you go around. No, I don't go around. Oh, I love you. Oh, I care about you. No, I love you. And the fourth one, and it comes when you do these 3, is happiness. It's nothing like being happy. Happiness, and it help you with your illness. If you show happiness, and again, I'm happy. I'm one of the happiest person. And the 5th one is inner peace. If you have the inner peace, well, Chris, it's hard to have peace, what's going on around the world, and this and that. And if you show forgiveness, caring, love, and happiness, and your inner peace, it comes. And I'm here to say I have studied, did this, and look at me now. If you see me several years ago, you were like, man, when is your time coming? When you get ready to kick the bucket? And, you know, when I had my near-death experience, I was talking to God, and I was like, you know, I don't want to come back. Beautiful trees, beautiful, the most beautiful place that I ever seen, you know. And when I came back, again, I'm in a bed, spent, 3 months in the hospital. The doctors, well, you're gonna be in a wheelchair. And this was my part of my spiritual healing. And I remember the team of 9 doctors was standing next to my bed. He said, you're gonna be in a wheelchair. And the first thing I said, the devil is a lie. I ain't coming here in no wheelchair. I am not going out in a wheelchair. And you can keep that wheelchair. And then another doctor came in, he had a walker. And he said, you're gonna be in a walker. I said, man, you didn't hear what I said. I said, the devil is a lie. I ain't coming here no walker. I am not walking out of here. I'm not going out of here no walker. I said, you can keep that walker. And I remember bringing in this, I should have brought it. I had this cane and had my name on it, Christopher Johnson. I ain't gonna never forget it. And I looked at it, I was like, you know what? I can rock that with my suits, but I am not gonna walk out of here with a cane. And I wanna let you know, I did not when it was time for me to be discharged, I walked out on my own. And I remember that someone told me, they said, Chris, you've been dead. You have died for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. He says, never, nobody ever that we know of came back with their mind set like yours. And I remember when the surgeon came in, and I was sitting there, I was laying there, he said, you might have had a stroke. And I looked at him, I was like, no, I ain't had no stroke. There ain't no way I had a stroke. And when he went and see my MRI and my CAT scans, he was like, you didn't have no stroke. There's no way, you didn't have no stroke. It was like, what happened? We don't know. We don't know. And I said, okay, I know that I was on a journey. I was on a journey. And I remember telling one of the doctors, like, we have to take a picture of you. And I was like, what you mean? He said, we have to take a picture of you because no one ever died, came back, and walked out of here, and you could not move. And I sat there and I was like, really? And then I remember what God said. He said, I'm gonna do something that science don't have no idea what had happened. And I was like, okay. And they told me, they said, Chris, you have an infection in the bone. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. So all the tests came back, and I remember one of the doctors, the physical therapist doctors, the MD, I remember she come running in. I thought something was wrong. And they said, she said, Mr. Johnson, something happened in the downstairs in physical therapy. What happened? So I explained it to them. And they said, get up and walk. See, I heard you can get up and walk. So I was like, yeah, get up. So I got up, walked, came back, and they said, Chris, we have to take a picture of you. And I'm like, what do you mean? They said, we have to take a picture of you because we have to put it on the wall and show people that you are a miracle. And I said, okay. So they took a picture, well, I thought, took a picture of my, headshot. And when I walked in the microbiology lab, they had a big life-size picture of me on the wall. And I'm looking, and I'm like, really? And I remember the supervisor said, Chris, you are a miracle. You are a miracle. And till this day, it's still up there. And when in the new building, they showed, they have a picture of me in the new building, and it's up under the title, a person that went through and came out healed. And whatever you are going through, if you take these 5 steps, forgiveness, caring, love, happiness, and peace, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Take it from me. It's going to work out. And thank you for inviting me to come and share my story of my spiritual healing and my spiritual growth. I'm steady growing, I'm steady healing, I'm steady being spiritual, fulfilled. And I want to see everyone here doing the same thing. And you will have that peace. And thank you.